guys, welcome back to 1776 or Bust. So today we're going to be taking a look at this little gem right here, which is a Steyr C9-A2. Now, you guys know if you followed the channel for quite a bit, I'm a huge Steyr fanboy. There's no doubt about that. I've owned the L9, the M9, and the S9 in the A1 configuration. The A2s that have come out with the M, the L, and the C are the new iteration of the old firearms. And I have to say, this thing is absolutely fantastic. A while ago, I was able to have the privilege, I guess you could say, of actually reviewing the L9A2 when it first came out. And then these guns kind of faded away. There wasn't a lot of information on them. You couldn't really find them anywhere. And then all of a sudden they started popping up every once in a while on, let's say, one of these websites where you can order firearms. But I have to say, guys, the gun itself ergonomically is next to none. Everything about this firearm is a vast improvement over the A1. The trigger, not so much, but we'll talk a little bit about that in a moment. So what I'd like to say right now is if you guys haven't subscribed to the channel, please subscribe to the channel. Also, if you wouldn't mind giving a thumbs up, I'd appreciate it. And check out the Teespring store, 1776 or Bust Superstore. That money actually helps this channel grow and allowing me to get some other items here on this channel. And I always appreciate it, guys. Now, one of the other things I want to talk about is Steyr as a company. Now, most people know the AUG, and everybody really likes that rifle or the bullpup. But a lot of people don't know about these, and it just is mind-boggling. Steyr has hit every single thing right on this firearm, yet nobody knows about it. I guarantee you, if you go to a local gun shop or a local firing range or something, and you ask everybody about a C9A2, an M9A2, an L9A2, they're going to probably look at you like you have three heads. And that's a crying shame because Steyr has done a piss-poor job at marketing these firearms. And it could be because they have military contracts in Europe versus the American consumer here. But at the same time, they have built a solid firearm. There is modularity to this firearm, and they've done zero marketing on it. And it really is pathetic, and it is super disappointing. And that's why, Steyr, I'm telling you, you guys suck at marketing. But that's okay. I'll do it for you, and I'm not even going to charge you because I love these handguns that much. So let's go to the table. Let's get a little bit of a closer look at this, and then we're going to compare it with some other firearms that are very similar to size, but it's interesting because this is the Goldilocks, in my opinion, of what they're offering now in the L9, the M9, and of course, this one here, the C9. So let's get to the table, guys. All right, everybody, how's it going? Back to the table here. So this is about the 15th time I've made a video on this gun. And it's kind of funny because each time I think I'm good with the video and then I'm like, nah, it's not really what I want to say. So it's kind of interesting. I do obviously want to talk about the C9-A2. First off, it's a great gun. I mean, if you guys have any experience with Steyr, you're going to know exactly what I'm talking about. You've got a great ergonomic grip, amazing texturing. It's not too aggressive, but it gives you just enough bite. I wish they would have continued this type of texturing to the front here. I don't really think these horizontal lines do much of anything, but I do like this in the back. These remind me a lot of the P10C, and they really do give you a lot of bite in your hand. Now, in regards to overall the fit and finish, it is great. I mean, if you can't get this thing to rattle, you can hear that. You can't hear anything. However, here's my P10. Thing sounds like it's going to come apart. Takedown, again, fairly straightforward, very easy. Just push down on that button, extend the lever forward, and everything comes out. Again, this looks just like the old Steyrs. There's really nothing that's changed internally, in my opinion. Again, you do have all this internal here that is actually removable. So you do have modularity in this firearm. The only problem is that it doesn't look like it's going anywhere because the trigger control group is serialized, but so is the lower. So much for that idea of them one day going modular, because they could have killed it just like SIG, but I guess they chose not to do that. Again, you have your trapezoidal sights. I'll show those to you in a second. Trapezoidal sights, really awesome. I mean, they're just so easy to shoot. Once you get the hang of it, it's really easy. And it really isn't mostly the sights. Sometimes it's usually the grip angle. This is a very drastic grip angle, as you guys can see. It's almost at a 45-degree angle, which is very uncommon for a lot of handguns out there. However, once you put it in your hand, you begin to realize, boy, there's an advantage to that because the way your hand sinks underneath that slide, it just gives you such a nice feel, a nice, secure feel for a handgun. It sits very low and you sit very deep inside the gun. So as a result, you're going to have probably very, very little recoil. So that's always a positive. This particular model only comes with 2 side panels and 3 back straps. The L9 came with 3 on here and 3 in the back. Not sure why they moved it to only 2 on this one, but that was their decision. Trigger-wise, Trigger hasn't changed at all. I mean, it still feels exactly the same. And that's a good thing. Like, this trigger is very good, guys. You'll notice a very short take up right there. There's not a lot of play in that trigger once you get to that point. And then it breaks really, really short and really, really nice. The reset is where everybody gets their panties in a bunch. Why? Because there really isn't one. I'm not going to lie to you. There is no tactile reset. There's not even really much of an audible reset. The good thing that this has going for it is that the reset returns the trigger right back to its original position anyway, and it's fairly short of reach in regards to the trigger pull. So if you're looking for quick shots, you can still definitely get it. You just got to train on the trigger. Overall, size-wise, I'm going to show you a quick comparison because this is where my video gets a little bit long in the tooth, and I don't want to really take too much time with that. What I do want to talk a little bit about is Steyr as a whole in a moment. But I'm going to use the MR920. Yeah, the reason why I don't have a Glock 19 anymore, and this is kind of the gold standard of size for carry handguns. Anything that's a Glock is pretty much the best. It's just small enough to fit in, tucked away underneath a shirt, but it's big enough to get a good grip on it. And I think that's what a lot of people like about the 19. Now, when you look at the Steyr, what you're going to find here is that this obviously extends a little bit further out than the Steyr because this is 4 inches versus the 3.6. But the grip is kind of interesting because it is extended a little bit further in the front. And that's the interesting part about this grip is that even though it is a longer grip, you don't really see it. And the reason why I'm saying that is because of the way this is angled. So let's say, for example, the 19X, and I'll put that underneath this one, maybe you can see a little bit better. But if you notice, the 19X does come down a little bit here. So even though the 19X and this grip are almost, I would say, the same in length, this one is going to be easier, in my opinion, to carry because it kind of cuts it off with that 45-degree angle, whereas this one extends a little bit further down. So just, take that for what it's worth. I still think this is very close to being more like a hybrid between a 19 size and a 19X. So it's not as long as the 19X, and it's a little slightly longer in the grip than a 19. Overall, fit and finish is great. This gun is going to be a shooter, man. I can tell already. All the Steyrs I've owned have always been 100% reliable, and I hope that this will follow suit. However, here's going to be my my bone of contention, so to speak. And this is really to Steyr. And this might blow any relationship I may ever have with them, but you guys suck at marketing. And I just want to make that very clear. I love your handguns. These handguns are fantastic. But for God's sakes, you need to market these much better than you do. I can tell you right now, I spent hours of my own time marketing these for you. And I'm okay with that because I believe in this product and I believe in the Steyr pistols. And if I didn't, I wouldn't have put them on the channel. But it shouldn't be an average guy like me who has less than 20,000 subs who is selling these guns for you. That's something you guys should be doing because you could be selling these like hotcakes. The reason being is that this matches everything on a checklist for good firearms. Good trigger out of the box, great capacity, by the way, which I don't think I mentioned. But these are 17-round magazines. So you have 17-round capacity in these things. Yes, the base plate is a +2 and it adds a little bit of length. I wish they would have cut it down to 15 or at least given you the option of going 15 and 17. That way you wouldn't have this protrusion coming out at the bottom like that right there, which just gives you a little bit more grip. And I don't really think you need it, to be honest with you. But for God's sake, Steyr, please, for the love of God, please do a better job marketing these because first off, when I did the L9A2 review for you guys, and I appreciate you sending that to me and you got it back, although I wish I could have kept it, I was hopeful that these guns would hit the market running, and they vanished. They disappeared. Then they started sporadically showing up, on websites, and I don't think anybody even knew that they were being released. And so for me, again, I have to question that and say to myself, why would a company make such a good pistol, sell it overseas, bring it to the market in the U.S., but completely ignore it? And that's something I don't understand. I don't think having catchy memes on social media is necessarily the way to go. I think sometimes you really just have to tell the truth and say that this gun is damn good and it is a fantastic firearm. But again, that's just my opinion. Doesn't mean it's right. It doesn't mean it's wrong. It's just what I feel about these fantastic handguns. Market them better. You will sell dozens, if not hundreds of dozens of these firearms because people are going to like everything that you offer. Obviously, get an optic plate on there. It's even better, but whatever. Now, at the end of the day, who's going to buy the Steyr? Well, I hate to say probably no one. And the reason being is, why would somebody buy a Steyr when there are other options that have tons of aftermarket support and a lot of I guess you could say popularity or popular following? The Steyr does not meet either one of those. There is not a tremendous amount of aftermarket, and this doesn't necessarily have a massive popular following. However, it does have a cult following. And I think that's where this gun really, I guess, pertains to people like that, like myself. People who like the Steyr A1 series, you're going to love the A2 series, whether it's a C, an M, or an L. It is going to be a great gun. And I think the people who love Steyr are going to buy them. However, it's unfortunate. I think the market should be bigger for that, and it just isn't. But that's not my fault. That's going to be your fault, Steyr. And I'm going to keep doing these videos, not because they're going to help me out or hook me up with anything. I'm just going to do them until you guys get sick of them and you finally buy one of them. And then you realize exactly what you've been missing. Because again, ergonomically, you can't beat it. And the way these perform, or at least my old ones did, they were flawless. So I'm expecting the same from this. But again, we'll do an after shoot review, and I'll tell you if everything worked right. So what I'd like you to do right now, after watching the video, is leave those comments down below. Tell me what you think of Steyr. Tell me what you think about these handguns, and whether or not this would be an offering for you. Would you buy it? Wouldn't you buy it? And why or why would you not? So I hope you guys have a great day. Stay safe. And as always, everyone, freedom is never free.